Welcome SSC 100 students. This is my week 14 commentary. We're getting close to the end of our semester now. We have 2 weeks in which to achieve good endings. My goal is to help as many of you do that as possible. The week begins on the weekend with the oral presentation, the peer presentation in workshop number 3. I think the organization for that is coming along nicely. And if there are any of you who are out there who don't have an identified peer group to whom you are going to do your peer presentation, please contact me as soon as you can. Second issue is for students who might also be worried about completing the course. It is possible to request an incomplete. However, my own practice is, and university policy is becoming more explicit, meaning that students who want an extension need to achieve an agreement with their faculty member on a plan of completion. So that has been my practice and will continue to be. So the bottom line is, if students need an extension, they need to negotiate a plan of completion that you write and we agree on before the end of the semester. I don't do plans of extension after the semester is done. Secondly, also please participate in the course evaluation and development efforts. There are 3 opportunities. One is which is the traditional online student survey, and 2 others are on the discussion board in the December forum. I appreciate any recommendations to future students that you might contribute, as well as suggestions about what worked well in the course and what you might offer as improvements. That would be terrific. Your primary function, priority now is the completion of your student project. Essentially, you're reading Luker's summary chapter, I think it's chapter 11, and it will help consolidate her approach to dancing with the social sciences, salsa dancing with the social sciences, if you would. And so I look at this as a 2-week wrapping up period. Your portfolios, of course, and your course projects are the key issues. With respect to the course projects, those are the showpiece within your portfolios. But again, call me and I'll be happy to help you find ways to complete those in the opportunity that you have. I'm not a big fan of people who procrastinate and get into crisis, mostly because I don't like crises. So I'm looking for good endings, and good endings are essentially boring endings, and that's what we're going for. All right, finally, on the content level, this is 2 weeks in which to consider the future of the social sciences. You've been introduced now to the history of the social sciences in your first essay when you answered the question, what are they and where do they come from? And in the lens essay, the second major essay, you looked at how the methods of science can distort our building and questioning of knowledge itself. And finally, we want to look at the future and think about your professional lifespan and where you might get a jump on the social sciences as something you've invested something into, and want to be able to represent that to others as being strategic. So we'll be talking about the future of the social sciences. I gave you one of those resources last week, discussion of the future of the social sciences and humanities. The goal of last week was to clearly know the difference between what are the humanities and what are the social sciences. And this week we'll look at how media and language will play a big role. I'm introducing you to one of my very favorite articles, which is titled, "Is Google Making Us Stupid?" by Nicholas Carr. I think that was an historic and important message for us to consider. And indeed, as we look at fake facts and the noise of the internet, the question of how to construct and validate and make use of good social science knowledge will never be more pressing than it is right now, I suspect. At least I hope so. So it's a bit of a ramble I'm sharing with you this week. Again, I'm looking forward to talking with you in real time at the workshop. Final note on the workshop, I will be there to get it started and answer questions, but it is, after all, going to be a peer review experience, and hence I will not stay unless there's some very unusual reason for me to stay. I would strongly recommend that you make a note to yourself to bring peer review forms, even to the phone bridge. Peer review forms will be needed by everyone who listens to every oral presentation. The peer review is in three parts: the presentation, the discussion, and the filling out of peer review forms. So anticipate between 15 and 30 minutes per student, not all of which will be presentation. Probably the most important part is the discussion. And the criteria for grading the oral presentation will be, quote, evidence of useful learning. And I encourage you to get your peers as well as yourself to put examples down. Examples are persuasive. Finally, to clarify what is an eternal question, yes, you are required to fill out a peer review form on your own presentation. And now, as a research methodologist, you have some idea that we need to check our perspectives and examine phenomenon from multiple perspectives, and hence your perspective as compared with that of your peers is an important point of comparison. That's why it's required that you fill out one of those forms. All right, it's just 7 minutes in this talk, so have a good week, and I look forward to seeing many of you at the workshop.